Okay, everyone, if I could have your attention, please. We have a special guest, as you know, in the house.
Hey guys, how are you?
This is Josh Layton from Wyndham.
My name's Josh. I work for Wyndham.
And Josh is going to be talking about his position at Wyndham, hiring, and why Wyndham is a great company, but also here to answer questions that you have because this school is all about placement. So here, I'm going to let you take a seat.
Okay. Cool.
And we have California and other places online. But what I want to do first, Josh, is have the students just introduce themselves.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go sit over here.
Sounds good.
Or maybe back there. So.
Hey, California.
Yeah, hello world.
Yeah, I know. All right, so who's starting?
My name's Fred, and I'm from Seattle, Washington.
No way, so am I.
Oh, yeah?
Actually, Tacoma.
Oh, I'm from Union Street.
Oh, okay, cool. So really from Seattle.
Capitol Hill, yeah.
Yep, okay. Yeah, I'm just a poser. So.
David Bergeret from Reno, Nevada.
Cool, cool.
Israel Ramirez from Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right.
James Anderson, Nevada.
Cool.
Edward Edge, Indio, California.
All right. You look really familiar for some reason. I don't know.
Who's next?
Go for it.
Billy Cross from Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
Have you been told you look like Beckham?
No. No. When I grow my hair out, I get a lot of. You look like a thin Jesse James. When I used to have my hair grown out kind of like his, kind of slicked back, and when my facial, everybody's like, "You look like Jesse James." I was like, "Okay, I guess that's a compliment." I don't know. So, cool. Thank you.
Richard McConaughey, Nevada.
Okay.
I am Dodie Yang. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I've been here for 3 years.
Cool.
Malika Tossin, Inglewood, California.
All right.
Deborah Lewis from Louisiana.
Okay.
Tony D'Angelo, native Boston.
All right.
Gabriela Peterson, California.
Cool.
Benita Seperka, Springfield, Missouri.
And Samuel Jones from San Bernardino, California.
All right.
Joanna Bennett from Orange County, California.
Cool. Well, hey guys, I appreciate you all inviting me here and talking to you all. So, oh, sorry, we missed somebody.
Yeah.
I'm Rob from Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. Okay, man, that's a big change from this place, huh? I was born in St. Paul.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So most people are like, what? No. Yeah.
Catherine.
Yeah, one other person.
I'm Catherine, and I'm from
Anderson. Cool.
originally San
San
Diego.
Diego? Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about what I do, you know, who we are as a brand. And then really I'm going to just kind of, I'm going to jump into like a question and answer with you guys because I really want you all to benefit from this rather than me just talking until I'm blue in the face. So I want to get some good information to you all that's going to obviously end up benefiting you, you know, once completion of the class here. So, but basically, in a nutshell, what I do is I recruit for Wyndham's telesales division. So the telesales division's got basically 4 different categories that I recruit for. So it's going to be inside sales, which is all over the phone. We're going to have inside marketing, which is also all over the phone. I've got customer service concierge, which is kind of hybrid of phone and a little bit of face-to-face. And then I've also got an event management group that I help that just got thrown on my table a couple days ago. And that's going to be more of an out-of-state recruiting for special events, what they call party weekends. Most of it is just going to be like resort operations for basically new foot traffic coming in, kind of enticing that new customer, that new potential customer. So basically what I look for in people are a lot of traits that you necessarily can't teach in a class. You kind of have it or you don't have it. Obviously, being that I recruit for sales, you got to kind of have that just, you know, that gritty kind of attitude, appropriate attitude, but gritty attitude, kind of don't take no for an answer type mentality. But on another note too, got to be very, very patient in what I look for in a person because there's going to be a base salary plus commission plus bonuses. And in most cases, for people that have sold in the past, it doesn't matter if it's been timeshare, cars, you know, typically good salespeople make good money. And nothing's worse than when you have somebody that comes, sits down, just starts talking about, you know, the money side while I'm looking at a resume that tells me they've had 8 jobs in 5 years. Kind of scares me off a little bit. So, basically, some of the skills, again, that aren't going to be taught from what I look for is the patience, kind of that big picture mentality. You know, are they excited about wanting to do this? Because again, I'm in the business of retaining people too, not just growing them in the skill set of what we do, but really retaining our people, because I take pride in what I do. And it makes the brand a heck of a lot stronger when you're building people from within. And I've always been a firm believer, if you're taking care of your employees, they're not going to want to leave. So, so like I said, I really take pride in, you know, finding that candidate that has kind of those core values, and then just kind of growing them from there. So, same on my marketing side as well, just kind of on a smaller scale. That's more of a part-time basis. So somebody that may have, you know, soon-to-be retired type person would probably fit really well in there, not necessarily wanting to work 40 hours a week anymore. Not really needing to either. The event coordinating position is definitely gonna have a lot of skill sets that are going to be coming from the classroom, which I'm not going to really go too knee deep into that, because again, I don't think it's necessarily relevant. But basically, again, you know, that perfect candidate that I'm looking for is somebody that comes in well prepared, has done their homework about the company they want to look for. Again, not necessarily coming in as, well, I just need a job, because, you know, 7-Eleven's always hiring. So, and I want somebody that knows a little bit about who we are and the culture that we produce here. There's a reason that we're actually rated, Zappos and Wyndham here is actually the #1 employers in Southern Nevada. We actually employ more employees than anybody in all of Las Vegas. Currently, our 4 resorts and our operations and corporate location employ over 1,600 people. So we're fairly large, to say the least. And again, our culture is kind of that count on me mentality, where you're willing to do whatever you can to take care of the project that's in front of you. Now, whether that's work related, personnel, or you just got a customer in front of you that you're doing your utmost to make sure that, you know, they're benefiting from, you know, you as a person. Because again, there's a reason we're the #1 hospitality company in the world, and we're actually double the size of the next closest timeshare company, because we do business right, and it all really comes from you guys. Again, you can develop a brand and you can develop a culture, but without the people, it's not going to bring the culture together. So it's like, you know, preaching to deaf ears in a way. So any questions? Go for it.
How about you had a colorful history. What brought you before Wyndham?
Okay, yeah, I've done a variety of different positions in the past. Again, I'm from Tacoma, Washington. Actually, my soon-to-be wife here, we came down here because we got family that's got a really rare heart disorder, so we decided to be down here close to the family about 2 years ago. But I used to run staffing companies in the hood. Like I'm talking like the dirty hood of Tacoma. And I saw everything from ex-felons to drug addicts to, you know, just successful people going through rough times. And I treat everybody with the utmost respect. I understand that we all come across, you know, the past that we come across from. I give everybody a second chance. But that's the thing, though, is you got to come prepared for those type situations. Prime example, I had a guy that came to me that been in prison for 10 years, 6 felony counts for like drug-related issues. Anyhow, this guy came into my office, and I don't know what it was about him that I connected with, but I almost kind of felt like this guy was an uncle to me, and I was his boss. Anything I'd ask him to do, the guy would just come in 120%, and impressed all of my clients. Because what I did in the staffing industry is I used to go out and acquire work for people. Talk about hard. So especially during the recession time and the market, that type of market, the temporary staffing, had a really bad taste in a lot of companies' mouths. Because they're like, why should I trust that you're going to bring in good people when I used, you know, labor ready in the past that just sent me a bunch of drug addicts or just sent me a bunch of just lowlifes? And well, I mean, I did things a little bit different. I really got to know my people on a personal basis too as well, because again, I took pride in what I did. And if I say I'm going to provide a service to one of my companies I'm working for, you bet your butt I'm going to do it. And so I think that's what kind of stood me out a little bit different than some of the other temporary staffing companies, is I really got to know my people. And that one individual in general that I was talking about that had the 6 felony counts for drug charges, I ended up getting him a permanent placement with a construction company that now him and I still email back and forth. This is 7 years ago. Guy's a foreman now making 60 grand a year. And this guy came from, I mean, I'm talking like the slums. And I mean, when I got him that personal placement, it not to sound cliche or cheesy, like it put a tear in my eye, because the guy like gave me the biggest hug in the world and it was just like, you changed my life. But again, that type of person is coming into what they're doing prepared for that, and they're humble. They're not me, grab, grab, grab. It's, okay, I'm at the beck and call of you. Tell me what you need me to do for me to be successful, and I'll listen, and you lead the way. And I mean, that's just one story out of, I couldn't tell you hundreds of people in that industry that I loved it. I had a great time. After that, I got in the car business. Actually ran a couple auto dealerships. Talk about hardcore on that. No base salary, sink or swim, 5 years of just, what do you want to make today? How much do you want to make this month? So got to a point where I was basically started off as a lot boy and then ran 2 dealerships, went from making $8 an hour to 140 grand a year within a 5-year period. So for anybody that comes into something and has this, again, this mentality of, I need to come in as a manager because I did that in the past, or I need to come in as this because I'm better than that, show them who's boss. Start from the bottom if you have to, and be okay with that. Again, just really focus on the brand, the company you want to work for. Do whatever it takes to get to that, because again, if my current friend that went from 6 felonies to living in his brother's basement to now making 60 grand a year running a construction team, I mean, if he can do it, guys, anybody can do it, really. So, and again, I'm not the smartest guy in the world by any means. I went from nothing to something too. And the position that I applied for here with Wyndham, the recruiting position, there's 350 people that applied for this. So they must have thought I was bringing something to the table. And I swear to you, most of it's going to be attitude. It's, again, come in as a sponge, come in as a student, and just do whatever it takes to get to where you want to go, but never lose sight of the focus on where you want to go with that company. So if you've been managers in the past, and heaven forbid you got to come in and humble yourself and start off as a just an entry-level position, if you show them what you're worth, the money will follow you. I promise that. So.
Could you go over the four positions that you are personally responsible for? What you said? You said telesales.
Yep, telesales.
Second.
Yep. So telesales is going to be marketing. Marketing and sales are very, very similar in many ways, but very different. The sales department, you need a full-on real estate license to basically sell timeshare over the phone.
Really?
We're the only company around here that actually sells timeshare to the owners over the phone. Nobody does that around here. So there's a big appeal to folks that are in the industry that are tired of the unpredictable nature of the business, Because when you're selling at the resorts, I don't know if anybody's familiar with what we do. When you sell at the resorts, you're at the beck and call of the marketing team to provide you leads. So let's say it's convention time. Let's say it's mid-November. You're not getting any tours. So you're basically sitting with your, with your finger in your nose hoping to get something. And all of a sudden that doesn't turn around, you don't get anything, you get sent home. So the cool thing about what we do over the phone, it's all outbound calls, 290,000 owners. Think you're going to run into Bob and Mary Johnson more than once or twice a year? No. So that's the joy of what we do is you create your own business, you don't wait for it.
And so that was my next question.
Okay.
You do create your own market, so to speak, for
yes,
Wyndham. There's no leads. It's just like
no. We're dealing with the current owner base, which is 290,000 people. So the great thing is, let's say you come in the door as a telesales rep, right? Every Monday you get 100 leads on your desk that are pre-qualified that can buy today. All you gotta do is call them and tell them why they need to buy today. Yeah.
What is the hiring process? I know you probably have an online application, but is there one or several interviews you have to
Yeah, no, good question. So pretty standard in our industry and in most corporate processes are going to be there's an online application, okay, a submittal, which most of the larger corporate companies are going to roll in application, resume, and basically like background screen all rolled into one. They're automatic tracking systems. So how it works for us is, so you submit your resume application all rolled into one online. From there, I screen all the resumes depending on the position. And then I pick out the best of the best. I call them individually. I do a phone screen. And typically my phone screens are 2 or 3 questions. Most of it is, how do you sound on the phone? Are you asleep? Have you had 10 drinks in you? Like, I mean, you'd be amazed. Like, I talked to a guy yesterday that sounded like he hadn't slept in like 5 days. And I'm like, I think I got the wrong number. I mean, right from the get-go. Like, I'm not even going to deal with that. So that's another thing. Always be prepared for that phone call. Because when you do submit something and you get a phone call, don't be like, yeah, who's this? Okay, you just ended it.
You're done.
You're done.
Time, right?
You're done. So yeah, I mean, you got to. I mean, even if it's this is, and again, with cell phones the way they are now, and being able to track who's calling and who's not calling. If you don't know who's calling, like I don't, if I don't know somebody, I'm not gonna answer it. Okay, let them leave a voicemail, and then I call them right back. Again, I mean, your guys' approaches. There might be some people that just pick up the phone every time, but again, back to that. Sorry, went off on a tangent here. So the phone screen, and then from the phone screen, I bring them in face to face. So and it's a pretty grueling process to get hired by me. I go through probably about an hour's worth of questions when they come in. So this isn't a hi, I'm Bob Johnson. Well, hey, I'm Josh. You look good and sound good. Okay, let's get you started. So it's not a mom and pop organization. There's a lot to what we do. And again, I like that because it shows that you're committed to me. If somebody starts getting frustrated, I've been here for a half hour already. Okay, well then that tells me, especially in a sales position, when you call 100 people and you get told no, you're probably going to quit. So I need somebody that is resilient and somebody that is, again, okay with the rejection and being patient.
Patience is a virtue.
Patient is a big thing. If I sit there with you for 2 hours as maybe just kind of testing you, there isn't one time you should be looking at your clock. So, because the thing is, they could just be doing that.
No, you've been waiting for people to look at their clocks too. That's like that. Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, it goes from the face-to-face interview, which again is roughly typically about an hour with me, to a final interview. Now the final interview is pretty intense. It's a panel interview. So they've got the director of sales, which is probably one of the best salespeople you're ever going to meet. Sales manager, been there for 15 years, been selling on the phone for 15 years. And then 2 top salespeople, all in one room, basically just rapid fire at you. kind of see how you can handle the adversity and handle the pressure. They poke and prod at you too because they're salespeople. They want to know just as much as you want to know whether or not this is going to be a good mutual fit. So so yeah, I mean, it can take upwards to. I'm pretty quick with my interview process. If I talk to you on the phone, I want to get you in like next day. And then if I get you in next day and I like you, I want to get you into meeting with the managers the following day. So I'm not like some employers that may take 1 to 2 weeks. No, I mean, if I like you, I want you in now. So go for it.
Is it feasible to ask questions during your interview? For me to ask questions?
Absolutely. It's just as much of an interview to you as it is to me.
That's what I always think.
Absolutely, but depending on what kind of questions you're asking. So you want to be kind of privy to what you're asking. Make them relevant questions. Make them questions that you're like genuinely interested about. Don't just start asking like, well, how long have you been here? That's always kind of a silly question to me. Which, I mean, I can understand that. And then sometimes, I mean, you'd be amazed. Some people will be like, well, I like what you do. How much money do you make? I'm like, what? No, let's not go into that. So, if there's something you're interested in, like for instance, me, when I interviewed with the company, I asked a ton of questions because, again, I want this to be a long-term relationship with not just me, but with them as well. I want to know what you do in the community. I do a lot of community service, like a lot of it. I want to know what your presence in the community is. I want to know if you're backing that presence or you're just telling me that. And then obviously benefits and pay and stuff. That's one of the final questions you should be asking, if at all, really. Because if you have done the research on the position, you know what it pays. I mean, if you're coming in blind, well, what am I going to get paid is one of the first questions. I'm going to be like, okay, you must not know anything about this position, which is already a huge red flag to me.
Sure.
So, and again, not to mention, too, depending on what kind of resume I'm looking at. If I'm looking at a resume with a guy that's had 8 jobs in 6 years, the first question is, well, how much money am I going to get? Okay, well, that tells me that if I pay you X amount and another company over here pays you 5% more, yeah, you're going to just say bye to me and go to them. It's just searching for that extra dollar. That doesn't work with me. And the thing is, after a while, it won't work with you either because nobody will want to work with you.
So what's a good entry position to start off with?
Oh, wow. It really just depends on what direction you want to go into. So if, like for instance, okay, well, what's your history? How about that? Here's a question. So what have you done in the past?
I worked for Labor Ready.
Okay.
I worked the same job for 2 years.
Okay, what'd you do for Labor Ready?
Construction cleanup.
Okay, so cleanup.
And I've been a cook for about 20 years off and on.
Okay. Now, if you get to wake up in the morning and the first thing that comes to your head without really thinking about it, what do you want to do? What do you enjoy doing? Not what have you done in the past?
Well, what I liked doing was driving a cab, which I did do in the past. I'd
Okay.
like to do that again.
Okay. Well, we have shuttle services for Wyndham.
Okay.
So maybe start looking into that direction.
Yeah.
So like if you enjoy cab
Customer
work,
relations,
if
people.
you enjoy the customer relations, let's say you want to drive one of our shuttles, for instance, from the resorts to the Strip, which our shuttle drivers love their job.
You make airport runs also.
You do. Yep. So in a situation like that, if you can't get right into a position like that, get into the resort that is providing that shuttle service. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then what you do is you start off as wherever you need me. But on another note too, this is a very important thing. When you're applying, stay very, very specific in what you want to do. Okay? Don't what they call spray and pray. Like for instance, like I could see Bob Johnson on my list of resumes. I can also see what he's applied for. And if I see any kind of signs of desperation or I just want a job, I don't even call the guy. So I can see how many positions this guy has applied for and where. So if I'm looking at Bob Johnson and he's applied for 60 positions in Vegas for Wyndham alone, I'm not even going to bother calling him. But let's say he's applied for 3 or 4, but they all relate. You know, like he applied for sales over the phone. He applied for sales at the resort. He applied for, you know, marketing over the phone. That lets me know, okay, this guy's a salesperson. But if he's applied for janitor, sales, customer service concierge, lifeguard, if this guy's applying for just all these random jobs, I'm like, this person has no idea what they want to do, and that's not a big turn on. So, for instance, like yourself, cater it to something you have done in the past, but ultimately, too, you know, seek for the position that is your dream position and just go for it. So, like something like that, come in as maybe a bellman. You know, somebody that is working with the customers. Have it be strategic to what you want to do. So that's just like, you know, I mean, I lucked out a little bit in my position, but let's say I didn't have this background and this is something I wanted to do. I would come in as maybe an entry-level admin assistant where I'm dealing with the department. And I see, okay, well, what's making this department tick and what's not? And then just kind of grow it from there. So, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, again, be specific in what you're applying for, but again, have that ultimate that ultimate vision behind where it is you see yourself in 5 to 10 years with that company. So, any other questions so far? Oh, there's got to be some. Yeah.
The customer service department.
What about customer service?
You said you had telesales and marketing, and you also mentioned customer service.
Yeah, customer service concierge. Yep, I help run that division too. I've hired one person in 2 years.
So they all stick around.
Nobody leaves.
That's good.
So that's most of the time I don't even want to come out and say that I help that division because that is a very desired position that people want, and I never hire for it because nobody leaves.
So what exactly is a customer service concierge?
So a customer service concierge, what they're doing is you've got the timeshare brand and you've got people that own into the club. Okay, so when the owners book their trip to wherever resort they're going to stay at, customer service concierge calls that owner, confirms the date, and then also provides various different services for them. Okay, were you guys needing any amenities? You know, I see you guys are coming to Vegas. Have you gotten any shows booked so far? Can I help you with booking shows? So you're basically like that owner, that customer's almost like personal assistant. And it's a pretty darn cool position. That's why nobody leaves. So, yep. So.
How about mentioning what you told me outside that I had a hard time believing about how much that one guy did last month?
Oh yeah. Well, this is a rare breed. Okay. So I've got a guy that sells over the phone that made 38 grand last month. So, yeah. So it's again, and the funny story about this guy, tattoos down to his knuckles, mohawk. If you saw him, you'd have no idea. You'd be like, that guy? Yeah. Him and I ride bikes every once in a while. He's probably one of the coolest guys you'll ever meet. Drummer in a band, just for fun. Started with us 2 years ago. And this is another big one to kind of reiterate, you know, the patience. Again, salespeople with egos typically burn out very quick because you get so much rejection, like tons of it. A decent month in sales is probably closing about 10 deals. That's a decent month. His first 2 months, he closed 2 deals. He made 193 grand last year. So that's the thing is, he had the big picture of, okay, I'm making mistakes and that's okay. What do I got to do to fix these mistakes? I see people are writing business, so that lets me know I can do that. And the support system that's in my office, at least, probably 2 of the most hands-on managers you will ever meet. I mean, these aren't people that sit in their office and on Amazon shopping all day long. These are very much like, what can I do to better you guys? Because ultimately, they get paid based on our production too, so why would they not want to do that? But this guy has gotten so dialed into what he does that he's just like a well-oiled machine. An average month for him is usually about like 17, 18 grand a month. It's kind of an average month for him. So the 38 grand is, again, that's a rare month.
Yeah,
but that guy was just, there wasn't a phone call he wasn't closing. It was just boom, boom, boom. And even he was like, I have no idea what's going on right now. Like, I have no, it's just, they're not saying no to me. And most of that, especially over the phone, is people can feel who you are over the phone. They can tell if you're smiling. They can tell if you're having a good time. And he has a very good time. And it's not out of greed that he makes so much money. He enjoys what he does, and he loves helping the owners. Because I mean, one thing I've always preached, even in the past when I used to manage salespeople, is if you enjoy what you do, money will always follow. Once you're just out there trying to, once you're out there just trying to get the money, you might get that quick, instant gratification. It's going to fizzle out very quickly. So go for it.
So you already answered a question I had as the director earlier, which is, so you're not always looking for the person with the most experience. You're looking for the visionary with the attitude and
absolutely
the right place.
And again, can they be coached?
Right.
And there's some questions I ask about that. Right. So
what would be an example?
As far as coaching?
Yeah.
For sure. Well, sometimes what I'll do is I'll throw them off and even role play with them. So like during the middle of the conversation, I'll say, okay, so you think you're good at what you do? Ring, ring. And they're like, what? Ring, ring, I'm calling you. And they'll pick up.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Bill. Bill? Bill from where? Bill from the... So anyhow, basically I role play with them, and they butcher it 90% of the time, okay? And I'm okay with that, because most people are like, whoa, 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 it catches them off guard. But what I do is I say, okay, next time do this, next time do this, next time do this. Instead of saying this, try this. Instead of saying, hi, this is Josh, say, hey, welcome, this is, just change the verbiage. Basically, I give them input on how to change the verbiage. And then, ring, ring, they hop back on. If they didn't change what I'm asking them to change, they're not coachable. They're not listening. So that's just kind of one example. A lot of it too is, different examples like, tell me a time where, let's see, what's a good one? I don't want to give a really vague one. It's going to take me a second. I got a couple of vague ones that aren't even going to make any sense because it's business related. But again, I mean, that's probably at least a good example is if I'm leading you in a direction to better yourself in a question, and it just goes in one ear and out the other, that probably tells me that when we get into the training process, you're not going to be retaining any of this information, and that's not somebody I'm looking for. Because again, what we sell here is a massive product. So you got to come in completely as a student of the game and a sponge, or you will fail miserably. So
how long is the training?
Training's a week-long, like classroom-style training. So 8 hours a day. It's hardcore. It's like a brain overload. But that's one of the reasons why they do it in a week too. Is so Monday rolls around, when you hop on the phones, you're calling the owners. They want you to make mistakes. We have 290,000 owners. You make 100 mistakes, who cares?
Okay.
You're not going to talk to any of these people again. So.
What are the operating hours? What are
my department's going to be from 1 to 9 o'clock Monday through Thursday, 1 to 8 o'clock on Friday, and you guys get your weekends off, which is like unheard of in this industry. The weekends off, yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. You're not international.
Oh, we're global,
So
but our department only handles the world mark owners, which the world mark owner base is going to be heavily saturated in the West Coast. Yep. So there's a campaign list that we that we work, and that campaign list is going to be Washington, Idaho. You're going to get the occasional Canada owner, Alaska.
So do you have any foreign owners? I mean, like from China, Japanese,
Tons of them.
Japanese.
Tons of them. Yep.
So then that's just not a market that you're.
Well, again,
graveyard?
for what now?
Graveyard shifts?
Do we do graveyard shifts? No, we don't. It's just a one shift from 1 to 9. So we've got 4 business units that do telesales for the WorldMark brand. Okay.
Right.
We've got Seattle. We've got here Utah and Orlando. So Orlando is gonna help out primarily the East Coast. So every area has got their own little market that they work.
So you say we're calling owners. So these are people that are already own some kind of timeshare or something, and we're trying to get them to do extra.
It's an upsell.
Upsell, okay.
That's all it is. It's Bob and Mary Johnson. You own 6,000 credits, which is like the equivalent of about a week's worth of time in one of the resorts. Then you ask them just big, open-ended questions. The conversation is scripted, but it's not like a robot. It's not like, hi, my name is Josh from it. It's nothing like that. It's more of outlines on where to lead the the conversation. It's about an hour-long conversation. Because again, we're asking for like $8, $9, $10, $50,000 over the phone. So this isn't a telemarketing phone call where it's, you want this or not? Oh, okay, click on to the next one. I mean, you guys are consultants on the phone. So, I mean, you got to break down that trust barrier. You got to be very comfortable with what you're talking about. And most of all, you got to make a friend. So.
And you say you have to be licensed? Like the Series 7? Or?
No, Series 7 is going to be like insurance and financial advising. Okay. It's a portion of the real estate license. It's called a TSA license, timeshare agent license. Takes roughly about 2 to 3 weeks to acquire one. $500. It's a state of Nevada thing.
And,
Welcome to the state of Nevada.
And that's a requirement for agreements?
Yeah, that's required for this position prior to starting training. And the worst part about it is we don't pay for it. So how hard do you think my job is when I'm having to sell somebody on how cool this is? Oh, and by the way, you got to pay for a $500 license.
Oh, thanks for the price.
And you have to have a license prior to.
So this is not an entry level.
Absolutely
I wanted to know,
not.
how we started.
Yeah, no, this is not entry level. So again, this is just what I manage here, but just depending on your guys' background and what you want to do. Again, I'm not here to sell you on telesales. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to tell you why Wyndham is a great brand, why it's a great company to work for, and how to approach getting your foot in the door with not just Wyndham. I mean, any company you want to work for. If you don't want to do hospitality, hey, it doesn't bother me a bit. Now, again, if you're wanting to get into maybe the construction industry, or you want to get into gaming, or whatever it is you want to get into, that's just kind of the approach on how to do it. Is really just, again, stay focused in where you want to go and why you want to do it. What's your purpose? So,
Could you tell me about the culture at campus?
The culture? It's like a big party. So the culture is very diverse. I'm pushing really heavily right now on a on a veteran hire. That's a big thing for me. Diversity is huge. Again, I can't reiterate that anymore. My focus, especially when it comes to diversity, is getting to know your market too. We have a huge Hispanic market here in Vegas. It's been a big focus for me, is Hispanic hires in my departments.
Bilingual?
Yeah, I mean, that's an advantage, but not necessarily, because we're not going to be speaking Spanish on the phone, because all phones are recorded for quality assurance purposes. So they have different departments that do that are primarily Spanish, different language departments.
Yeah,
for sure. But the culture overall really is, we're very involved with the community, local community here. We've donated. Another nice thing we do is we match dollar to dollar any personal donation from every employee up to $100. Doesn't sound like much, but let's say you've got 1,000 employees that are all donating $100 to an organization. The company will match that $10,000.
Would you be interested in like doing like an internship with the Larson Training Center? Or
That's a great question. I'll have to see what, because we just started an internship with UNLV, with CSN, just about 3 years ago. Our presence is not too big in the internship yet, which I think is really silly, considering we're the largest hospitality company in the world. Why do we not have a really solid internship? I know we're wanting to grow that. So yeah, that's a great thing. I can definitely look into that. Yeah. So, any other questions about anything at all?
How about you were talking about the job fair you had?
Oh, okay, cool, yeah. So I just actually had it's called a One Wyndham job fair just about a little over a week ago. We had a budget of $1,500. Which, if anybody knows, advertising budget of $1,500, you have no idea what you're going to get. We had an Orlando location that did the same thing, same concept. They had a $10,000 budget. They ended up spending like $8,000 of it. But anyhow, long story short, I've got some pretty good connections with a lot of different places down here downtown, and I got a lot of free advertising from even a couple of the TV stations. We ended up having a 386-person turnout on a $1,400 budget.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Which is really good. So cost per hire, typically we want to stick around $350 per person. So far, my department alone has hired 4 people. And that's my department. That's not the other 12 brands that were there representing. So it's going to be very, very successful. So, but yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the a lot of the community that I'm involved with is going to be primarily focused on building the brand up as much as I possibly can, because I want people to come to me, not me come to them, about working for us. Any good company is going to want that. Zappos, huge one right there. I mean, they got just people just crawling to them, and it's because they've developed the culture behind the people, not behind necessarily the brand. The brand itself has been built by the people. So, I mean, everybody talks about, oh, I heard it's just a party in that place. Yeah, I mean, they do some things that I don't know how they do it, but they do it. They have break rooms with liquor.
Well, I haven't been in it, but I've seen the
It's a different place, I tell you what. They must really, really trust their employees. It's yeah. I mean, it's a completely different brand over there again, and it's yeah. It blows me away some of their practices, but they make it work. So we don't have liquor in our so no, we don't do that.
Josh, do you find out about anything about how the economy's projections are for the future?
Yeah, bright note, big bright note, which is kind of depressing on my end when I read this article on LinkedIn. You can tell the economy is really, really turning around once you start seeing the percentage of people actually quitting their jobs. Since 2009, there's been 2.7 million people quit their jobs within basically a 5-year period. Now, from 2006 to 2009, so only 3 years during the hardship years, there were only like 1.1 million people quit their job. So that's like a 56% like increase. It's huge. So that kind of lets me know that, again, there's nothing more important than building your brand, because, again, you treat your people right, they're not going to want to leave you. But coming from an employee standpoint, somebody that may not have work currently, that's a positive. So that lets you know that companies are hiring, the right companies are hiring again, and people are making changes because it's not as intimidating as it once was 5-6 years ago. People don't have to hate their jobs anymore. They can go into it and actually enjoy it. So
Where are you located at, Josh? Where's this?
Where I'm located is in Summerlin. Okay, that's where the call center's at. But we've got 4 resorts down on the Strip alone. We have a new resort, Desert Blue, which is opening up in October. Place is beautiful. I don't know if you guys have seen the Rio. There's a new like resort that's kind of like a bluish reddish color, standing alone, like right off the 15. That's our new resort. So it's not open yet. It's opening up pretty soon.
Where are the other ones?
The other ones are pretty much all on the Strip, other than we have one off of what's the cross streets? Basically by the Orleans, kind of in that neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
area.
You got it. Yeah. So that's our Tropicana location.
Drop in Arville.
Yep. Yep.
I used to drive a taxi too. So
Oh, okay, cool.
Blue,
Yep.
Blue Desert. I used to try
Desert Blue?
Desert
Uh-huh.
Desert.
Yep. So I'm sure we're going to be having a huge career fair for that place alone. So really keep your eyes out on for that one. And they're going to be hiring everybody and everything. So.
That's not the only vehicle for getting an interview, or I mean, do you do the online thing? It doesn't matter if you have a job fair, correct?
Oh yeah, if you do the job. I mean, job fairs are always. I've always been a big person on job fairs because again, you put a name and a face together. I can look at 200 resumes and man, I'd much rather look at a face than a resume because the face tells me a lot. So if somebody comes to me, hi, my name's Billy. I mean, it could say president, CEO. It could say all kinds of stuff on that resume. I'm like, yeah, pass. I don't want this guy. So, whereas you might have somebody that is underqualified, but man, they got the attitude, they got the preparation, they just got the drive. Yeah, I'm gonna want to work with somebody like that because again, they have things I can't teach. I can teach the things that are gonna provide them success in where they're going.
Can't teach personality.
Yep. No, you can't.
Our motivation.
So, yeah. Cool. So yeah, career fairs, really encourage you guys to go to those. And some good ones to go to actually are some of the station casino career fairs. So.
Okay, well.
Cool.
Thank you for coming. Very good. Thank you for your time.
All right. Hey, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
We have something for you.
And what can I do for you? What can I do for you? So we got to ask that everyone.
We have something for you.
All right.
Let's get your picture here.
Cool.
Make sure we're here. So 2 more people have to sign it. But this is a book that we use here in class.
Okay.
And this is all of the poems, prayers, and speeches that are part of our culture.
Oh, I really appreciate that. That's
so
great.
what we do here is on Friday, we are on a Google Hangout for the rest of the world, and we're reciting things that are memorized.
Cool.
And we start out with the hard ones, like what?
Mary had a little lamb.
Little Jack. And then we work up to
We started out with
Hamlet Soliloquy and things like that. So this is for you, but these 2 women have to sign it.
Okay.
But on behalf of the school, so let's thank Josh one more time for coming in.
Thank you, thanks, guys. Hey, thanks again. Are you guys going to sign it real quick? I got to get the whole
And then it's lunchtime.
Here. Oh, really? No, probably only 32 years into it. Oh, thank you. I was going to say, too, if you don't mind, I can put our jobs website on here.
Sure.
So, again, you guys can now start kind of like slowly looking into what it is we have to offer here in Vegas. We have 89 positions in Vegas alone. It's huge. So, another really cool thing you guys can do is create a profile on there. It takes about 15 minutes. And the profile, based on what it is you're looking for work, will actually generate emails directly to you on new positions that are just opening up.
Nice.
If that makes sense. So, that's
why they're here.
Okay, so here we go. It's WVO job.